Now, Joburg Mayor Phalatse has fought tooth and nail to hold on to power. Phalatse has survived yet another day, but the ANC says that a fresh motion of no confidence in her will be tabled in the coming days. So what's her game plan? eNCA reporter Moloko Moloto was there, and he joins us now live just to give us more details about her press briefing this morning. Moloko, just give us a synopsis or a conclusion of what she said earlier today.
So, Marcelo, maybe let's start with the one part of her media briefing. She was really here to bash the ANC and its partners who have removed her from office, and they also removed Vasco da Gama. She says that she actually labels them an illegal government that she says during the time when they were in power. We know Dada Morero was executive mayor for about 25 days. Phalatse is saying that they have witnessed the intention to do away with the foundations of good governance that she says her coalition government that she was leading had put in place. And now she obviously was also blowing her own horn, Marcelo, talking about the progress that she says when they were in power before they were interrupted by her removal from office, the gains that she says they have made. For instance, she says crime in Johannesburg was beginning to go down. She was also saying that for instance, following the energy indaba which the city held, they are beginning to make headway in terms of making sure that the procurement of alternative energy, wherein the city will rely less on ESCOM in terms of electricity supply. She says they are moving in the right direction. But in general, really, she was out to say that despite the fact that they are aware of this new motion of no confidence that will possibly be sponsored in the coming days, she is also in ongoing discussions with other political parties to make sure that she remains, which is very strange considering that her own political party, the Democratic Alliance, through the Federal Council, have turned down her arrangement to go into this arrangement with the EFF. You would recall, Marcelo, that without the EFF, Phalatse would not be able to constitute a government here, even if the EFF is not in government, but she would need the EFF votes to retain her as the mayor, and the ANC as well. They will need the EFF. So if the DA says it cannot work with the EFF, chances for Phalatse to retain her position are very slender indeed.
And Moloko, how does the city look then financially because of all this up and down? I imagine that court cases are not cheap.
So, Marcelo, when you talk to the ANC, they will tell you that the finances of the city are messy. And they are painting a picture that says in the coming months or so, the city may not be able to meet its obligations. They are saying, you know, there's nervousness every time the city has to pay salaries, because there's a sense that it may not be able to do so. ANC would say that the cash flow is problematic. But when you speak to the executive mayor and members of her mayoral committee, they acknowledge that the finances of the city are not in a favorable position. But they insist that they are not in a position where they would not be able to meet those obligations. Now, we know that they actually, that is the DA-led coalition, they wanted a report to serve before council to allow the municipality to go and borrow about 2 billion rand so that it can keep them going, Marcelo. Now, that report was not able to serve before council, and they are blaming the Speaker of Council, Colleen Markulele. They say that she is blocking that particular report. But let's listen to Phalatse as she was addressing the media.
We are very concerned, and over and above her being impartial, or not being impartial. We're concerned about her overreach and her now blocking the work of the executive. We're seeing executive reports being blocked from being tabled in council by the Speaker. We wanted to table urgency reports, and the DBSA loan was one of them. And she simply said unilaterally that it's not urgent. It's not urgent, and so it can't serve. And we had hoped that it would serve today. We saw yesterday she decided to postpone the meeting. She doesn't even say when it's going to sit. She simply refuses. We've submitted motivations trying to show how urgent and important this is, and she simply refuses to see reason. And she's, in fact, usurping the powers of the executive. It's a big problem, and we are dealing with it, and we'll communicate further on that as time goes on. So it's a big, big problem, and it will impact on service delivery if she continues in this manner.
And Moloko, she seems to be blaming the Speaker for the lack of service delivery in the city of Joburg. But how is service delivery being impacted when you look at it?
Well, the problem, Masero, is that the municipality would not be able to function if it doesn't have money. Now, if they are not going to get that 2 billion rand, ultimately that will impact on their ability to provide services. But there's another conundrum, Masero, in that the fleet contract is actually collapsing or lapsing, and the municipality will now have to renew that particular contract. But now the problem is that that report was also supposed to serve before council, and it was also not it couldn't find its way before council. Now the municipality or the executive mayor is blaming the Speaker for that as well, and they acknowledge that if they are not going to be able to resolve this fleet contract, because this is about the vehicles that pick it up, which is a company belonging to the city of Johannesburg used to collect rubbish. So chances are that in the coming days you're going to see heaps of rubbish piling in the streets of Johannesburg because they will not be having those vehicles. Now, the municipality, through the executive mayor, is saying that that particular contract is problematic and they have ordered an investigation. They say they have a contingency plan, but they do depend largely on those vehicles that pick it up is utilizing. But I know, Marcelo, you have actually spoken to the Speaker of Council, Colin Makubele.